Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us today. I'm Colonel Matt Huseman, and I'll be your narrator for today's ceremony. As this is an outdoor event, military members in the audience are reminded to come to attention and render salutes during the playing of musical honors and the singing of the national anthem. All citizens of the United States and military members not in uniform should face the flag and place their right hand over their heart during the singing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On behalf of General David Alden, the Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, welcome to your United States Air Force Academy and the Air Force Academy's Assumption of Command ceremony. We would now like to recognize our honored guests in attendance today. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. We extend a warm welcome to General Bauernfeind's spouse, Tricia. Other distinguished guests in attendance today include the wife of our officiator, Mrs. Gina Alden, General Retired Charlie Holland, and his guest, Colonel Retired Gene Rose, General Retired Gregory Martin, and General Retired Stephen Lorenz and his spouse, Leslie. Although time does not permit us to introduce all of our distinguished guests, we would like to welcome all the retired general officers, commanders, senior enlisted leaders, and all local civic leaders for taking time to join us today. Likewise, a special thank you to all of the United States Air Force Academy staff for attending this historic occasion. A centuries-old tradition, the Assumption of Command is a military custom deeply rooted in history and tradition dating back to the time of Frederick Great of Prussia. In that period, military organizations developed flags with unique specialized colors and designs. When the soldiers followed their leaders into battle, they kept sight of their flag. If the banner still waved after conflict, it was a sign of victory. Having the position of great importance, that flag was incorporated into ancient change of command ceremonies. The organizational banner was exchanged in public for all to see that who holds the flag is the unchallenged and sovereign leader. The modern day ceremony is principally symbolic, yet it still announces all the authority of the incoming commander in the finest of military traditions. Please enjoy the ceremony. Sir, cadets, all present or accounted for.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, cadet wing, all present or accounted for.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, men, all present or accounted for.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, dean and faculty, all present or accounted for.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, director of athletics, all present or accounted for.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, 10th Air Base Wing, all present or accounted for.
Thank you, sir. Sir, all present or accounted for.
Take your post. Present! Present! Ha! The presiding official for today's Assumption of Command is General David Alvin, Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of musical honors, the singing of the national anthem, and the invocation. Sir, I present the command. Continue the ceremony. Staff, order, march. Chain post, march.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Captain Halili. This morning's invocation is offered by the Air Force Academy chaplain, Colonel Ruth Segrist.
Please continue to pause as I offer a poetic prayer. Lord, bless Lieutenant General Tony Bauernfeind as he assumes command, as he continues to develop leaders of character to take a just stand. As the 22nd Superintendent, grant him wisdom and sustain his health as he builds upon USAFA's blue legacy and great wealth. Bless and guide him as he leads with grit and grace. Prepare and steady him for challenges he may face. Bless his spouse, Tricia. Keep her fit and healthy too. Thank you for her support and the things that she will do. Thank you for General Bauernfeind's past experiences. They've prepared him for this day to serve and lead his alma mater in an humble and great way. Lord, may the Bauernfeind's time at the Academy be rewarding and fulfilling too. May they find joy in doing the work that their souls must do. I offer this prayer in the name of God, who is holy. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Seagrass. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is with our great pleasure to introduce the Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, General David Alvin.
Well, good morning. It is truly great to be here. To our Air Force leadership, general officers, senior enlisted leaders, past and present, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here on such an important day. You know, I have to tell you, I get the honor of doing so many of these types of events, but coming back to this place that forged me, where I really started it all, is just something special. There are few things that can compare to standing here on the terrazzo of this fantastic institution on a beautiful Colorado morning. Now, I will tell you, I also had the opportunity to spend lots of time on this terrazzo over there, marching back and forth, but I'd rather we don't focus on that today. All of it was part of forging who I am. But I want to talk about, as we look at this beautiful physical backdrop, I want to talk about the strategic backdrop against which this ceremony takes place. Perhaps you've heard me say that I believe we live in a time of consequence. Hey team, this is not a buzz phrase. This is not the phrase of the day or just a catchy bumper sticker. I believe this to my core. And the thing about a time of consequence is the ripples from the actions that we take, from the leadership that we exhibit, and from the leaders that we make, go to those seminal events of the future, and they will define those outcomes. It's the things we do now. And we're in one of the most important and consequential times, I believe, since the history of this institution, and for sure in the history of when I've been serving. So when I came up that ramp 42 years ago, we were also in an era of great power competition, but it was different. We were 3.5 decades into a Cold War. The battle lines were drawn. Things were maturing. We understood very clearly what the adversary's intent was, what the consequences were, what was at stake. So I came into this uniform, into this environment in a fairly mature way. So when I graduated from this institution, I did feel like I was prepared. But I will tell you, it is more difficult now. It is more complicated because the environment is more complex. The potential adversaries that we face today, the challengers, the competitors, those whose national interests will collide with ours, they're not as clear as it was when the 18-year-old Dave Alvin came into this institution. And that makes it more difficult. It's an opaque environment, one where this entire nation does not have a great awareness of what those who mean us harm or who mean to chip away at the things we hold dear as a nation, of what they're doing. They're hiding in the opaqueness. They are moving around in an environment of distraction, things where they're hoping that we're not paying attention. That's a difficult environment to enter into. But that's what we're expecting of the cadets that are going to graduate from this institution, to be able to pierce that fog, to be able to look behind the distraction, keep the main thing, and focus on this dynamic environment. And the lieutenants that graduate from this institution are going to need to be better leaders than I was, than my classmates were. The nation is going to demand it. So the strategic backdrop against which we have this transition today couldn't be more important. And this institution is adapting. It's adapting to the environment, and I could not be more proud. Now, in a perfect world, this would be a change of command, but we don't control the calendar. Things happen, events happen, and for all the reasons that make sense, we have to do this in 2 steps. But as we have this transition, I believe we need to spend a couple minutes in what we would have done had this been a change of command. And I want to talk just a bit about Lieutenant General Rich Clark and Amy. This institution has been undergoing a transformation. I'm looking at the leaders within this formation that have been doing this. Through COVID and through an understanding that there were instances of harmful behavior or learning better how to have healthy relationships and treat with respect, this doubling down about developing leaders of character and what it means, that foundation is strong. And that happened through the engaged leadership, let's be clear campaigns, digging into what it means to develop leaders of character, not just making it a phrase. And that's what happened under the leadership of Lieutenant General Clark and his wife Amy, a powerhouse couple who gave everything they had to this institution, without which the foundation that was laid through that, the springboard that we need to jump from now to move this transformation probably couldn't happen. So in their absence, if we could just have a real quick round of applause in appreciation for what General Clark and Amy did. And now we move with that foundation. We move forward. We move forward to change the cadet experience, to understand that a more dynamic environment requires those lieutenants to lead from day one in an environment where the rules aren't always as clear. The day-to-day context matters. Being out there and solving complex problems in small teams where you may not be able to go back and connect with your leadership. Understanding what mission command is, what empowerment is, what the value of your teammate is, and what that means in the context of tactical and strategic victory in this environment in the future. I think we've laid the groundwork. I think the team here, the leadership team here has done that. And I think the blueprint is becoming clear. So all you really need is a leadership team to help you guide that. And we've got that. This transition today to the new superintendent, the 22nd superintendent of the United States Air Force Academy, Lieutenant General Tony Bauernfeind and his wife Tricia are going to pick up that mantle and run. They're not going to run alone. They're going to run with the team I'm looking at right now. But they're not going to do it. You're going to do it. This team here is going to do it. We're going to understand together. We're going to learn together. And we're going to develop and advance the cadet experience to honor the institution that for me and for so many others I see in the audience forged who we are. And we could not be more proud or have a deeper love of anything than we have for this institution. This is not running away from our heritage. This is honoring it, and this is building upon that. And so when Lieutenant General Tony Bauernfeind steps into the seat, he comes here with a love of this institution as well as a 1991 graduate, with a career that is just checkered with distinguished graduates and all the things that you would expect of a senior leader, but something else, an intellectual curiosity and a vision and adherence to principles. And those are the things that as we navigate this transformation of the United States Air Force Academy to develop those young leaders who are going to lead us. And oh, by the way, the lieutenants that come out of here are going to have to lead up. I can tell you stories about leopards and spots and old dogs and new tricks and things, but I will tell you the best way to ensure that we're going to have a formation that is full of empowered, dynamic, thoughtful, agile officers are institutions like this one right here. So I could not be more positive, more optimistic, more confident in the future of our United States Air Force and Space Force than I am now looking at the leadership, looking at the plan, and looking at the great Americans that continue to come up that ramp, raise their right hand and say, yep, I'm going to join this winning team. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me say thank you again so much for being here, for being a part of this event and this journey that we're going to go on together. Without further ado, what do you say we pass this flag? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General Alvin. The position of the superintendent is unique in the Air Force. The superintendent is responsible for the Department of the Air Force's model institution for military education and leadership development, producing leaders of character and quality that the United States Air Force, United States Space Force, and our nation need for the 21st century. The superintendent executes a leader development experience that prepares and develops lieutenants immediately ready to lead the United States Air Force and United States Space Force. The superintendent directs a staff of more than 3,500 military and civilian professionals to develop over 4,000 cadets through a 47-month program of instruction involving military training, collegiate academics, athletics, and character programs. The Academy program leads to a Bachelor of Science degree and a commission in the United States Air Force or United States Space Force as a second lieutenant. Ladies and gentlemen, General Alvin will now officiate the assumption of command. Please rise.
Wing! Head! Hut!
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, United States Air Force Academy, Special Order Number Golf 24 TAC 40. Lieutenant General Tony D. Bauernfeind assumes command of the United States Air Force Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and please be seated.
Present! Present! Hard!
Sir, the United States Air Force Academy welcomes you as our 22nd Superintendent.
Order! Hard!
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce the 22nd Superintendent of the United States Air Force Academy, Lieutenant General Tony Bauernfeind.
Ready!
Thank you much. Good morning, everyone. And please allow me to use my notes to make sure I do this appropriately. First and off, to Team USAFA, I just want to thank to each and every one of you the warm welcome that my family and I have received since landing here just a couple weeks ago. We truly feel welcomed. Chief Alvin, thank you for your introduction and your kind words. We are truly honored and humbled for the trust and confidence that you, Secretary Kendall, and General Saltzman have put in us to lead this remarkable organization. To our distinguished visitors, our local leaders, and our community partners from across the Front Range, thank you for being here today, and we look forward to working with you arm in arm to move this wonderful institution forward. To everyone who made this day possible, thank you. Behind every event, there are countless hours of planning and execution, and those efforts are noted and appreciated. Thank you especially to Captain Halili. I will tell you, you've got an amazing voice. Thank you for sharing your gift with us and for your beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Thank you to our Honor Guard for looking so sharp, to our Air Force Band for bringing this ceremony together, and finally to Chaplain Segrees for your poetic invocation. It is truly uplifting. And lastly, I want to thank my family and friends for their unwavering support over the last 33 years, really 37 years, and 23 moves and countless sacrifices. But I want to call out two special call-outs. The first is to Mr. and Mrs. David and Judy Ingalls. They are my sponsor family. 37 years ago, they took me in to take care of me and maybe let me sleep on their floor when I collapsed back from a wonderful day coming back from Jacks Valley. And I will tell you, they've been there to support and be with us the entire way. Dave and Judy, thank you for being here. And then to my best teammate, my wingman, my battle buddy, the one who gives me the harshest feedback, Mrs. Tricia. Tricia, you've been here the whole way, and I cannot thank you enough for all that you have done to make sure that our family was supported on the home front, but more importantly, our military family was taken care of. We could not have done it without you, and I love you. Thank you, Tricia. To all, please know that we're proud to be part of USAFA, and we look forward to building upon the great work that Lieutenant General Rich and Amy Clark did to ensure that we were preparing our cadets to be the world-class leaders our nation requires in our Air Force, our Space Force, and our Joint Force. It is an honor to lead the Air Force Academy with its rich history and legacy of developing leaders. I can tell you that my time as a cadet played a pivotal role in laying the foundation for me as a leader for the past 33 years. And I am excited to return to this extraordinary team that is dedicated to developing our next generation of combat-ready leaders. As we look to the future, it is clear we are in a time of consequence, with geopolitical instability evident in our headlines, even just this weekend. Our nation and world are evolving, and we must adapt to meet the challenges that lie ahead. Our officers must be prepared on day one to lead in a dynamic and changing world against adversaries wishing to do harm to our nation, our allies, and our partners. There are worldwide tensions, conflicts, and threats to our freedoms right now, and our cadets must be trained and prepared the moment they graduate to execute military operations and lead their teams through the challenges and adversity that we will face. As a military academy, our priorities are the foundation of everything we will do. Every activity, every action, and every program we have must support and reflect our priorities. And we will focus on our priorities, which are: we will develop warfighters to win. We will develop leaders of character and quality. And we will develop critical thinkers to adapt. To do this, we will continue to improve our training and education programs where warfighting is not just a job, but a mindset. We will develop leaders that value team building and support every teammate to reach and exceed their maximum potential. And they will establish the climates and cultures that ensure team success. We will develop those critical thinkers who can navigate through challenging programs, innovate those rapid solutions we need, and execute their missions with the precision required to ensure success. Together, we will transition from a fourth-class system where the focus has historically been on the freshman class, and transition to a four-class system where each class will continue to develop through their academy journey. There will be an emphasis on developing teams that value and benefit from multiple perspectives to solve the wicked hard problems that we are facing in our world today. Our cadets' experiences will align with our operational force, where they will begin their journey as teammates and followers, moving to becoming frontline engaged supervisors, then team leaders, and finally unit leaders who will lead their cadet squadrons to success. As cadets progress through their leadership development, we will assess and recognize their progress at defined milestones, and when ready, we will promote them to the next level of development. As we execute these fundamental changes to our leadership development program, we will focus on standards and discipline, as a strict adherence to standards and attention to detail is the foundation for success in complex military operations, especially in uncertain environments. With these changes, the academy experience will become more demanding, but we will never be demeaning. Ensuring that as we move forward, we are building up our teammates and our teams as a critical principle in everything that we do. Through these priorities, our partnerships become vital. With our Air Force and Space Force leadership, our community teammates, our joint partners, our cadets will reach new heights through their journey in the profession of arms. I am absolutely confident that we have the right team of military, civilian, and academic professionals and leaders to move us into the future with a renewed focus on developing leaders ready to execute in an increasingly chaotic and uncertain future. And as Chief Alvin just said, the time for change is now. Our national defense strategy clearly outlines our direction for the future. With our global adversaries threatening our security and our way of life, we must always be ready. Our Air Force Academy is a proud institution, and not only will we produce the airmen and guardians our nation needs, we will raise the bar across our commissioning paths, ensuring that all of our officers are prepared to support and defend our great nation. To our permanent party, whether you're part of the cadet wing, the faculty, the athletic department, or the 10th Air Base wing, I am absolutely honored and confident that we will meet mission because of the amazing leaders and professionals that we have in our permanent party. And I look forward to working side by side with you as we support and develop our future. To the cadet wing, the cadets, we are here for one reason, and that one reason is you. You are the best and brightest from all corners of our great nation. And I am confident in our future because of you. Through your leadership, through your hard training, through your warfighting mindset, and your focus on readiness, in the future, I am confident our adversaries will think twice before testing the world's greatest Air Force and Space Force. And should our adversaries choose poorly, I am equally confident that you will lead our future forces to victory for many years to come. We will change together for purpose, ensuring that you are ready and prepared to protect our nation, our allies, and our democratic ideals the moment you graduate. You are our mission, and you are our future. In closing, I'm excited to take on these challenges and to prepare our warfighters to win in the future. Our guidance is clear, and we are ready to continue execution. It is my distinct honor and privilege to serve and lead this exceptional military institution into the future, and I look forward to being a critical part of this team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lieutenant General and Mrs. Bauernfeind, the men and women of the Air Force Academy welcome you to the team. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the Space Force song, and remain in place for the departure of the official party and special guests. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. You're invited to join Lieutenant General and Mrs. Bauernfeind for a reception in the Arnold Hall Ballroom. Those wishing to attend the reception, please exit to your right and follow the signs to the ballroom. We ask that you remain in place until the distinguished visitors have departed and the ushers release you. Thank you for attending today's special event. Have a great Air Force and Space Force Day, and go Falcons.
Great job, sir.